not be loose. Nothing will be loose down there. So then we now introduce you to the TG Guard solution itself. The first thing is we allow you to configure. So there's a lot of planning before you install, and so we make you make available 16 locations. Remember, each sensor is self-identifying. Okay, so there's a table that allows you to enter the ID of the sensor and the location of the sensor. Now, this is a table form. You can also use a CAD front end, allowing you to place it where things are. See the color, because it relates to the color-coded fiber optics. Okay, you can trace it back and identify the signal where it came from. So on the other side, on the turbine end, the 7th one is on T15. Okay, all the other ones are traced from the exciter end. So our technology, self-calibration. Okay, so after you install, you activate this self-calibration. It will check each of the sensor by itself. Okay, and give you a green light. Now remember, I told you that only 12 or 13 are used. So 16 and 10 and 16 were not installed. So it shows you that calibration and self-diagnostic works. 10 and 16, no sensor, no green light. Okay? So as a matter of fact, we use this to discover a problem. One thing I must explain, fiber optics is not like electrical. They have some weakness. The weakness is that you cannot bend it into sharp angle. You cannot make a right angle turn. But most of the engineer working, on electrical stuff, they like to be neat. Okay, sometimes they bend the cables in a bundle and then it's tight. And we didn't emphasize it enough. And the first 6 sensors installed all destroyed because they went through a right angle bend, and the signal still show up but about 100 times weaker. And so we know that the sensor exists, but something was affecting it. It took us a couple of hours to figure out what happened. And then we asked them to cut out the wrapping, and we discovered these right angle turn. Luckily, we have 6 extra sensors. We installed that, and that is what got the picture you see today. So now, another thing is you don't need to be in the control room. You can see the sensor working remotely, and this allows you to do that. This is a feature of TG Guard, and all not only our sensor is self-calibrating, is adjusting to changes in the temperature, global temperature inside the generator. So you see this blue level going up and down. And the laser is used to do that. So you see just like a blinking panel. So, typically when you see the Star Trek movie, this will give you that type of picture. And you can see the remote sensor work. You don't have to be there, so you just capture, which one it is, channel 1, channel 2. You see the time domain signal there. Now, more importantly, you must confirm that the target signal is as per what you suspect. This is 2 times the line frequency. Now, this guy is generated from doing a NIST shaker. So the NIST shaker is at 159.2 hertz. So it's not 120 like you suspect, okay? Now, you can, there are 2 parts of our solution. The first part is this monitoring solution. And actually hidden is a database, test database as you collect. Then what we do is provide you a TGI. TGI is a multi-user data analysis software that allows people, your engineer, to remotely examine and analyze the data. No conflict. So there's a pipeline. So this architecture was not implemented on the HPS, but is now implemented because, as as the engineer examine the data, it might disturb the data collection itself. So we separate it now into a pipeline, and collection always continue. Examination is of the stable part of the database. So you can see long-term time domain signal and also the Fourier transform. In this case, it's clear, 100 Hertz, 2 times the Indian line frequency of 50. So now it's very clear. Now, this is the real value of our solution. Let's say you take a bundle of these sensors, you set the limit at 10 micron. Do you see that channel 1, or the color is not showing very well? You see channel 1 is showing a winding that is getting marginal. And this is no cause for alarm. I mentioned before, the amplitude has to grow to 50 to 100 for you to be concerned. So, but you should pay attention to this sensor from that on. We will advise the maintenance engineer to look at this frequently to make sure that it's not a monotonic increase, in which case it may lead to real trouble. To ensure that the signal is always the same involved in the target 2 times line, you can see the waterfall, which is spread out 2 weeks or several months duration of the target signal, 100 Hertz. So you can see that very clearly. Now, but the real benefit is this. If you take the two together, let's say you grow in amplitude. Some generator manufacturer beg to differ from you. They said, my generator is designed to handle more vibration, can cope with more vibration. So remember, this solution is relative. So what you want to do is start up with the baseline value unique to the machine and see it increase 5 to 10 times that amplitude. Okay? Now, that might not be definitive enough, but if you are able to measure hotspot, the two together is definite. Then you are not walking into a false alarm situation. Local temperature rise are really related to partial discharge that take place. So just to sum up, our characteristic is that it takes 1 to 2 days to install. Okay, if you are very elaborate, then we need to wrap to pay. And if the end winding is such that there is no end cap, then we have to create a conformal structure, taking some soft tissue, soak it in resin, and then clamp it together. We did that, okay, in the AEP plant. 5 years warranty for this solution. And in case capital budget are not available, there's also a leasing option. 5 years of free update on the TGI. That means you want to have more user to diagnose or to analyze the data, we support you, we upgrade you with additional functions. And during this warranty period, we even extend you services of examining the data, because I understand it might be difficult to have knowledgeable professional at every plant. And so some of our customers might like to have somebody keep an eye in the background. Now, the dilemma is this. Your IT group will tell you that nobody can connect internet to the control room for fear they have a firewall, they don't want anything to go through the firewall. So we suggest this solution, connect from the control room Ethernet to a remote site, okay? We will reproduce the database constantly. So the database that we will access is outside. It's not inside the firewall. In that case, you get the alternative that works. So if you allow us to do that, and we will keep you alert for 5 years. And so if you think about ROI, think about this. It could be 50, 70 to 100. It depends on the value of your generator. and the revenue